Hi, this is Mike from Harrison County Parks and Recreation, and we're going to visit the Ice Age now. Very important to us, we always like having something with the Ice Age because these creatures existed here in West Virginia, where we live. So we start out, the easiest way for me to start out is to, most everybody knows the size of a beaver. Beavers, you know, nice little animals, 3 feet long, 40 pounds, whatever it is. Well, in the Ice Age, things were just a little bit different. The beaver in the Ice Age was 8 feet tall. So that meant where my hand is above me, he was that tall and weighed over 500 pounds. So that gives you perspective for sure. In the Ice Age, things were very harsh and of course very cold, as the name indicates. So they had to be mega size in order to survive because they could retain their body heat. It was just much easier for them to survive the harsh conditions. And one of the best ways over here is we have our short-faced bear. This guy is 12 feet tall when he's standing up on his hind legs there. You see he's an awesome creature. He weighs over 2,000 pounds. He could run fast. They think he's the fastest bear that ever lived. So you get that kind of a creature after you being that big and that fast, you cannot imagine what that would be like. So moving into the Ice Age, we'll keep on as we're going here. We have our mastodon. That's the big head down there. So he's a nice sized animal. He's 13 feet long, 6-7 tons anyway. He lived here in West Virginia. Huge creature. You can see just by the size of his head how big he is. Tusks could be up to 9 feet long. He's in the same kind of vein as a woolly mammoth, which most of you would probably know. The big difference is that he had straighter tusks, where the woolly mammoth had a nice big curve on his tusk. Now their teeth were a little bit different too. Our mastodon tooth is nice and knobby because he lived more in the mountains and he had to eat branches and things like that, so he needed to be able to cut through those. Whereas our mammoths were down in the valleys and on the prairies and grasslands, and there was just a smooth, and they used it to just grind the grains is what it did between the teeth. So you had a big difference in the teeth in those guys. Now, talking about teeth, move up to our Smilodon. This is our saber-toothed cat. He's been found here in West Virginia, of course, too, and you see his teeth. His teeth could be about 12 inches long at the maximum, but most of that would be up in his jaw. So you'd have about that much down on it. And he was 6 feet long, 350, 400, 500 pounds, depending on what stage of life he was in. And guys, they would attack this guy. You get a bunch of them after him and they come after something big. They were very, very powerful. They were fast to a short stint. They could do a quick jump on you. They couldn't run long ways with things. But he liked to attack the underbelly. He would get underneath of the creature he was going after and he'd slice open that belly and then watch him bleed. And he'd bleed out and then he'd have his dinner. Now his mom taught him some good manners though too. He was very careful with his teeth. He might not be able to brush them, but he made sure that he did not eat close to the bone. Because if he damaged that tooth, he was just out of luck. So he made sure that that was done. Then the scavengers would follow along and have their meal after that was done. We move across on our Ice Age here and we get to our woolly rhino. Now when we talk woolly, everybody's talking about they have long fur. It is actually hair, just like you and me would have. So he'd have hair on him, and same thing with woolly mammoth. Now one of the important things was to meet Sasha down here. We got pictures of him. You can see he was found frozen in the ground in Russia, and they got him out. They were able to clean him up, gave him a nice a blow dry and a comb out, and you see how nice he looks now. So they really got an idea of what that the woolly part was like. So it was an amazing find to be able to fix him up like that. Then we go ahead and we'll slide on down, and we come to the giant sloth. This is West Virginia state fossil. They found, the first bones of him was found in saltpeter mine in Wyoming County. And they took the bones, they found a claw and a few arm bones, and they sent it off to a fellow named Thomas Jefferson to study. Thomas Jefferson had a lot of interest besides in history of being our third president and the founding father. And he named it, and he thought it was a big line. He had no idea because they only had a few bones. So this is actually, the creature has been named after him on his Latin name. And this guy is over 10 feet tall. And you know, as ferocious as he looks, he was a plant eater. He used those claws to pull down the branches and eat the plants that way. He was hunted a lot when man started coming around. Man needed to hunt these guys. Of course, they used the fur for clothing and to build their huts with. They used the bones, they used tusks of these animals to build their huts. You can see in our background there's not very many trees, so you didn't have the wood to work with. So these guys were hunted, and that was part of the reason for the extinction. Climate changes started happening, the usual story of what happens with the change in the Earth's periods. Now, okay, as big as he is, he's the little cousin. His cousin down in Florida and Mexico was twice his size, about 20 feet tall. But again, this is our state fossil of West Virginia, and the Ice Age is an important study period for our area.